everybody. We're back here at AMFest and got a great interview. Another guest I want to introduce to you, a new friend of mine. We met a couple days ago here at the conference, but Ocean Rasso is with me here at the Truth and Liberty booth, and just very excited to sit down and visit with him for a few minutes. Ocean, thanks for coming on Truth and Liberty.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Ocean, you are actually an author, or in the process of becoming one. You've got a new book that will be coming out very soon, and here's an advanced copy of it called Preserving Freedom.
Yes.
Wow. But Ocean, you're only 15.
Yes, sir.
You're not old enough to write books.
I'm not old enough to vote.
You're not old enough to vote or serve in the Army. But you're telling us about our freedom.
Yes.
That is so amazing. What a beautiful cover. Tell me about your book.
Yeah, so the whole idea came out of the youth of America. You know, there's a great feeling of apathy. They don't care anymore. You know, they're bombarded with the idea of freedom all the time from the left, right, and center, but it kind of just loses its feel and its grasp. It's fallen flat on the next generation of Americans. And they just have lost what really made America, America. Morality, natural law, reason, freedom, liberty. And so my mission is simply to preserve freedom for the next generation by doing three things. First, educating the uneducated, which this is in the book. Second, enlightening the lost. And third, reinvigorating the apathetic. And the way that I do that is I go out and I speak, and eventually I spoke so much and everyone was asking me, do you have a guideline? Because the next generation is screaming, give me a guideline, give me a set of principles that I can abide by. So I decided to write this book. It goes into what our freedoms are, what our rights are, how to defend them, how to fight for them, why they're so important, and throughout American history, how they have been used and grown, and ultimately how we kind of lost our feeling of freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ocean, America, sometimes people refer to our country as exceptional.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, extremely, yes.
Yeah, and what does that mean to you?
Well, I think that America is unlike any other nation on the planet. The Founding Fathers had a very unique perspective. You see, they were able to look back on history. They saw ancient Greece, they saw Rome, they saw the Middle Ages. They were able to see what worked and what didn't. Democracy didn't work. The Republic did. They were able to look at the present. They were lived under a monarchy. They didn't have the freedom of speech. They didn't have the Second Amendment. They didn't have the freedom of religion. So they were able to see how that failed. Yet they were able to look at the future, to see how this would influence generations to come. And they understood they needed a constitutional republic, which is the basis of our nation.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, Ocean, so next year, 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, did that play any role? Were you looking forward to that? And did that play any role in your decision to write this book?
Incredibly, incredibly. You see, something important that I think we've lost in America is our belief in Christianity, our belief in Christ, our belief in a creator.
Yeah.
It's really something that we have distanced ourselves from in our current culture. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to the ideas that built up our nation, that are the foundation of our nation. And I think that if we don't do something by the 250th anniversary, if we don't invigorate the next generation of Americans, we're going to lose everything that our founders built up for us.
Yeah. Well, you know, the young people for 40, 50, 60 years now in our country are taught in our public schools that the Founding Fathers were deists and secularists, that they wanted the government completely separated from all talk of God and religion. Now, Ocean, you've been homeschooled, right?
Yes, sir.
So do you disagree with that premise?
Extremely, yes.
Tell me about it.
56 out of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence were Christians. 55 of them attended a Bible-believing church. Most of the 13 colonies actually had a law where you had to be adherent to a denomination of Christianity to serve on the state legislature. The reason for a public school system in America by the Puritans, this is found in the Satan Old Deluder Act. They said the reason being that we need to educate the next generation of the Bible.
Yeah.
America is a Christian nation. We are built upon those principles. And if you these Judeo-Christian principles ultimately, and if we get away from those principles, those are the basis of our society. They're going to collapse. Our society is going to collapse.
Well, so the anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, you know, it says in the opening part there, it says that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights.
Yes.
But that sounds kind of generic, you know, it doesn't sound like Christian. Is that a Christian terminology there, or why do you feel like that we're founded on Christianity?
Well, I think it's extremely apparent when you look at the way the founders believed in a God, higher God. But during that time, there was true reason. There was reason. They were able to deduce what was true. And the fact that Benjamin Franklin paused the convention and told everyone to go home and pray to God. You know, Benjamin Franklin, who most of us think, who most in modern America think of as a deist, as someone who separated himself from Christ. No, he was actually actively calling for prayer.
Yeah.
The idea of separation of church and state didn't come around until Thomas Jefferson wrote a letter to the Danbury Baptists. Many today think it's in the Constitution. We need to really educate the next generation what is true.
Right. And so, what do you hope to happen or accomplish with this book?
I want to make a revival. I want to make a change. I want to make a difference that will resound through generations. I think we've already seen the beginning of this change. You know, the death of Charlie Kirk made an impact. And it made an impact that will never stop. I think it will resound from generation to generation of a revival towards seeing the true ideals of America. Freedom, liberty, our creator. But I want to continue that momentum even stronger in the next generation because I see how easy it is to lose freedom. You know, Ronald Reagan once said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. One generation away. I think that we've come the closest we ever have to losing our freedom because of the ignorance in the next generation when it comes to these principles. So my mission is simply to preserve freedom for the next generation, to enlighten the next generation, to be free thinkers, to understand what is good, true, and beautiful.
So Ocean, do you have a website or do you have a podcast or anything?
Yes, I do have a show, the Ocean Rasso Show. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
And I have all social media platforms at Ocean Rasso. We're still working on a website to get the book up, but that'll be up hopefully early January.
And when do you expect your book to actually be published?
Yes, it's in the process of being printed right now. It will be available hopefully January 8th of 2026.
Well, folks, this book is actually endorsed by Eric Metaxas and U.S. Congressman Andy Biggs and Larry Schweikart. So pretty impressive, Rasso. Congratulations, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, what an inspiration you are, and very excited about your future. And thank you for coming on Truth and Liberty today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, God bless you.
God bless.